All right, today we're gonna do an installation of Element Stain Series. The whole point of this is to explain to you how to do our installation, show you the tricks, because you as an installer are the person who gives the finished results. That's the most important thing I can say about putting up Element Stain Series. There's nobody coming behind you to make it look better. Step number one is always stringing and leveling your ceiling, doing your layout. We're gonna string lines. We're gonna check where our level is on these trusses. If they're sagging, we might have to cut them out so we don't have to lower the whole ceiling. Or we might need to find a truss that's up a little high, and then we'll put a sister and we'll nail it onto the side of the truss and lower it. So you're gonna set your strings and then you're gonna lower to that. When you're putting up your plywood, definitely leave space around your light fixtures so you have room to adjust. All right, so now we have the plywood up. If the material is out here on the pallet, I want to keep it covered. Protect it from the sand and rain, because it's a finished product. There's no sense getting stuff on it. You see right here, this says glue and touch-up. So when we open this, that's your glue and that's your touch-up. And then these are the pens that you can put paint in and touch up little things. Just remember, it isn't made to cover the board. If you have things, you need to only hit the spot that's white. It's not a paint that you can go over and paint the whole board. If you have something that damaged, don't put it up. I keep all this stuff, you know, you never know when you're gonna find it useful. Like the foam might be useful. If you're trying to put stuff and stack stuff, you can put it back between. So you're gonna find these in bundles. And you want to keep them like this until you're working. This is our end matched. So you're gonna have this end, it's gonna have the groove, and this end is gonna have the tongue. And this has already got the stain on this edge. You put a 10 and an 8, then you put a 6 and a 12, and the seams all go in staggered areas. And then you take the boards and you go all the way down to the other end, and you only cut at the wall. And let's say you pull a 3-footer or a 4-footer off the end. You can start your next row with that piece. So you wanna have reveals. You wanna check your reveals on the ceiling. You don't wanna just come up and start putting your first board up. You wanna check your light fixtures, make sure your light fixtures are all in a straight line, that when you put that board up, they're in the board or they're splitting a board, but they're all doing the same thing. You want lights having symmetry. Right now we've ripped our boards for our first row, and we're gonna start putting the adhesive on the back and start putting it up. We're putting the adhesive down the center of the board. You don't wanna put it on the outside because you don't want it squeezing out, and you wanna keep it off your hands. You wanna stay clean, because what gets on your hands is gonna start getting on the boards. It's using stainless steel nails, hugely important. You can see they're shooting it in, and what you're doing on this piece is you don't wanna put a face nail out in the field where you're gonna have to touch up, because we have a perimeter trim going around. If you don't have a perimeter trim, you wanna make sure you put your nails really nicely. Rely on the glue, but remember, when you shoot into the tongue, that's gonna be covered, so it's a blind nail. But the ones that you put into the face, you wanna make sure that you put to where the perimeter trim can cover it, so you don't have that extra touch-up. As you can see, we have a very simple setup. It's a chop saw, table saw, workbench. We put a cloth on top of the table, because we just don't wanna like slide this and hit something that might scratch it. So gluing is a really important part. I'm gonna show you right now. The glue goes in. All the rest of it is making sure that you don't put seams next to the other one, so you stagger it around. Blind nail. If you're gonna put a face nail, put it where you can cover it with a trim, or nail it symmetrically. We have them bundled in packages of 4, and in the different lengths, the 6, 10s, 8s, and 12s. So you store it, kind of let it acclimate in your work area, but when you're putting it up and you have your first row up, look at it and make sure that it's as straight as possible. Because if you have any little imperfections, maybe the plywood has a little something in it. So if you have any imperfections, stick some shims in, straighten up that first row, because that sets the tone going across. So take the nail gun, 45, shoot it in, and then it disappears into that 90, so you don't see the nail heads. So for you, as a carpenter, the best results are gonna come if you have sharp blades and your hands being clean. That is so important. Hands being clean, making sure that you have a rag when you're working, And when you put your joint together, if glue does squeeze out, get it off immediately, wipe it off. These guys have been wiping this every time they're putting up, while the other guy's getting boards and prepping, they're wiping and cleaning and making sure there's no fingerprints or dirt or dust, anything. And now look at this ceiling, it's like perfect. You can deliver it to the client, finished, ready. And that's the whole objective with this pre-finished ceiling, is that you're putting up the finished product. So keep it clean. The last of it is the perimeter trim. And that's what this is. We send these out. They're 1.5 inches by 1/2 inch, and they're finished on one edge. This is the edge that sticks out. This you do have to take the touch-up paint at the joints, and when you cut it, you'll see that white. So you have to paint this edge. The exposed stained edge, just the top 1/8 inch. This does have face nails. You're gonna see in the touch-up kit with the glue that comes with the package, you have a little paintbrush where you just go and you dap it on the head. Don't ever brush this like you're gonna faux paint in. You just dap the paint on the nail head. You wanna store the material out of the sun right before it goes up. Don't leave it baking in the sun just because you don't want it to expand and get hot, because it's never gonna be that temperature again. Keep it clean. Don't break your bundles up until you need to. As you can see during the job, like we had like 4 bundles, a 12, a 10, an 8, and a 6. We had them open in a nice clean place, stacked with the foam neatly, and we pulled and worked from there. Make sure your plywood and your trusses are super level. If you look at the ceiling, it is smooth, flat, there's no waves. And the reason that is they really focused on, if they saw, when they're up there looking at it, if they saw any kind of movement in the material following the structure, they shimmed it and they leveled it. You are the person that makes this look great. I really appreciate you guys. Take your time, work hard, work safe, and we always say thank you for making our product look good.